Diorama steam locomotive on Viaduct. This is Modbrix set 108467. It was released in May 2025 for about €60. This construction block set consists of 1,688 pieces, which are compatible to bricks by other building blocks companies like Lego, Kobe, Mega, and so on. This is not a licensed set, but it clearly depicts a scene from the second Harry Potter movie, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. You can see here the Hogwarts Express driving over this viaduct, and Harry and Ron almost crash into the train with the car of Ron's father. But I think it's not a problem to display the set if you are not a Harry Potter fan, because it seems that you are it's very easily possible to remove the flying car, and all the other stuff we can see here also exists in reality. The locomotive is a real locomotive produced in the 30s. I think the carriages are a few years younger, and the viaduct, that's the Glenfinnan Viaduct in Scotland. So you can simply see the set as a diorama of the Glenfinnan Viaduct, even so we only see a small part of that viaduct. I personally have read all the Harry Potter books. I started with reading them in the late 90s. And I watched the first movie in the cinema. But I have to say, back then I didn't really like that movie, or the first movie, because I just imagined everything a bit differently when reading the book. But in hindsight, I have to admit that the movie isn't bad and that all the other movies are fun too, but I'm personally simply not a big fan of those movies. So I think it's good for me that I can display the set even without being a huge Harry Potter fan. But if you are a huge Harry Potter fan, then this might be a set for you. Well, maybe that's a bit early to say that. Let's just build it, and then, we can get a proper opinion about the set. So here on the back side of the box, we get to see some other views of the completed build, and you can see that the viaduct is simply cut, so we only get to see a piece of the viaduct. But it looks quite colorful, and I'm really looking forward to build this set. Let's have a look inside the box. Inside the box we find the bags with the bricks. The bags are unnumbered, which means we are not going to have building sections. And also, the pieces are not pre-sorted. The bags contain various pieces, so I think it's a good idea to open all the bags and sort the pieces by type before you start with the building process. That just makes the whole building process smoother, and you won't have to search for an individual brick at each building step. This bigger bag here also contains a little piece of paper with a QR code. With the help of that QR code, you can download the building instructions. There are no printed building instructions, only digital instructions. But you don't even have to scan that QR code. You can simply visit the Bluebricks website, to which Modbrix nowadays belongs, and there you can download the building instructions. As you can see, this build is designed by Florian W. And that's a very talented designer. And yeah, in previous videos I showed you other of his micro dioramas. Two of them were inspired by Star Wars and one was inspired by Star Trek 4. Alright, I'm going to open all the bags now, then I'm going to sort the pieces by type, and after that I will start with step 1. I will come back to you as soon as I see something interesting or something simply doesn't work as shown in the instructions. So far I have completed the first 10 steps and I think now it's a good time to talk about the bricks. The set might be a Modbrix set, but it uses the same pieces that also all the Bluebrix special sets use. And this means we get bricks which work fine, but they are definitely not the same quality as Lego bricks. You have to push a bit harder to interlock them, and a lot of those pieces come with ugly crater-like injection holes. Some of the pieces have perfect injection points, but most of the pieces got these huge ugly holes. The tolerances aren't perfect, but yeah, you can definitely work with those pieces. I'm not quite sure if the bent base is due to the not so good tolerances or it's simply because of the building techniques. I guess the main problem with the bent base are the building techniques. You can see that we have placed a lot of plates on top of each other and this always makes builds bend. But I'm convinced that in the end the base won't be bent any longer because we put a lot of pressure on both sides and yeah, we will have a sturdy connection which will keep the base just in place. Step 19. In this step there is a small but rather meaningless error. So one of the pieces we have to place in the step is this 1x2 slope here. But you can see that it sits below this little plant, which we have placed in an earlier step. And of course we can't place the slope as long as the plant is there. So we have to remove the plant again, then we can place the slope, and after that we can replace the plant. When I think about it, this might even be an illegal building technique. I think the plant doesn't interlock properly any longer. So I think we have to place the plant like this, then everything should be fine. Yeah, now you can see it's interlocked properly again. And when we rotate it, it interferes with the slope. It doesn't get up there from alone. So yeah, I think we should place this piece like this instead of this way like shown in the instructions. Step 49. In this step we are using a non-standard technique. It's a technique that the Lego company, for example, doesn't use, but we can find this technique quite often in Bluebrix sets and Kobe sets. What we are going to do is to invert the building direction of these 1x3 plates. So we want to have studs on both sides. And we do this with the help of these only studs here, with these hollow single studs and this bar, which we use as a tool. We stick the bar in one of those studs, then we place the stud at the underside of the plate at a negative stud. We press down the stud with a fingernail, and at the same time we release the tool. And in this step here they want us to do this 3 times with each of those plates. And yeah, at some point our plate looks like this. And now we can simply use it as if it had studs instead of negative studs or anti-studs on its underside. In step 73 we have to place 30 of those pieces at once, but with those pieces our build finally starts to look like a viaduct. Step 85. We have created this immensely sturdy construction. It's insane. You could put this on the ground and walk on it and it wouldn't break at all. This is really massive. Wow. Alright, I think now it's time to start with building the tracks. Step 89. In this step we have to place 46 of these 1x1 plates, and you can imagine that aligning these pieces can be quite annoying, but there's a trick which makes things way easier. So what I did is that I took this whole segment and placed it at an edge, the edge of my table, like this, so that I can place it properly on its head. You can see here that the studs are in the way, so it doesn't lie flat on the table, and that's why I used this edge here. And then I simply used this brick here, and I did slide it all over those plates here like this several times with a bit of pressure. And yeah, with this method all the plates align perfectly. I think a variation of this method was also shown in LEGO's Rivendell set. Step 98. We have completed the track, and for that we had to use the trick with sliding the brick along the 1x1 pieces several more times, because as you can see we have placed a lot, hundreds of 1x1 bricks, plates and tiles. And yeah, it was necessary to align all of those pieces perfectly. I really don't like this building technique, but it's necessary because it gives us a lot of details, but it's just not fun to place all those tiny pieces. Step 105. This might be a micro build, but nevertheless I like the idea that we have found a use case for a wand. After all, it's a set which depicts a scene from Harry Potter. Step 129. In this step there is a little error. So in the step we have to place 4 trees which we have built before, and you can see that all these trees have this light leaf at their lower end. This one here. And now we have to place the trees on the build. I already have placed 3 of the trees, and the 4th tree is supposed to be placed here, like this. The thing is, you can see that we already have placed 2 leaves here. The second leaf, or better said, leaf on top, was placed in step 123. This means when we place now the tree segment here at this position, there should be 3 leaves on top of each other. But when we have a look at the instructions, we can only see 2 leaves. Let's have a look at the box, or I think better at the back side of the box. There we should see how it is supposed to look. Here we can have a better look, and here you can see there are also only 2 leaves. Not 3 leaves as shown, or no, it's not shown as 3 leaves in the instructions, but not as, expected, better said. That's very strange, but it looks also as if all the leaves here are lighter leaves, and we definitely have placed a lot of darker leaves here. Very strange. How does it look like when we have a look at one of the next steps? Yeah, there are definitely only 2 leaves. My guess is that this is a darker leaf and this is the lighter leaf which is attached to our tree. Well, this means I'm going to remove this leaf here, and then we can add the tree like this. Step 132. We have built 6 more trees, and once again we have the problem with having a leaf too much. So here you can see with placing this tree here, that one, we only count 2 leaves here. A darker leaf and a lighter leaf which is attached to the tree. But you can see that once again we already have 2 darker leaves placed here. I'm going to remove the upper leaf, and instead of that I'm using only the leaf which already is attached to the tree. Step 187. At the moment we are building one of the carriages, and in this step we have to add the roof. I want to take the opportunity to give you a look inside the carriage, because it comes with, a tiny interior. That's quite cool. I guess once we have added the roof, the interior won't be visible that much. We can have a look through those transparent 1x1 bricks, but without the roof you can see way more. Step 224. This is the set's final step. And here's something strange. Have a look at this little inventory box up here. In this inventory box we get to see this blue bar, the tool which we used to place the single studs. I doubt that we have to place this piece here somewhere in the build. I can't see it, and it really doesn't make sense to place it anywhere here, so I guess the instructions end with a little error. But this doesn't really matter. It's a rather meaningless error. It's nothing severe. Alright, then let's have a look at our completed build. And it looks great, doesn't it? Wow, such a cool build. So here we get to see a part of the viaduct. I guess this here is supposed to be a hill, which means that the viaduct starts here. And it isn't an exact representation of the real Glenfinnan viaduct, especially the details differ. And in reality, the surrounding vegetation looks a bit more dull than shown here in this diorama. But I don't think that this matters. I guess it looks even cooler that way, and I personally don't need the Glenfinnan viaduct. I don't even see this as a Harry Potter set. For me, it's just just a little diorama with a train on it. Also, I guess this house here doesn't exist in reality. Maybe this house and this little truck here are some Harry Potter Easter eggs that I just don't get. I don't know. But these things give the set a bit more liveliness, and this is always good. And it also adds some color to the build. In general, the build is very colorful. That's so cool. Especially the red train here on top of the viaduct. And have a look at this cool little train. It's so cute with all its tiny wheels. Fantastic. It's a small train, but it comes with a lot of details. I guess we got coal up here. And it's hard to see, but there's even some kind of interior, which I showed you during the building process. And another eye-catcher, of course, is the steam. That looks really interesting. It gives us really some feeling of movement. There's some kind of action going on here in this diorama, and this just looks cool. I guess if you are not going to move the build a lot, then you might also be able to remove this transparent bar here, and the steam still should stay in position. The connections done here are sturdier than they look, and I guess it will stay in place even without the bar. But of course, the bar gives the whole build some more stability. We also get to see the railway ballast and the rails themselves. Awesome. So many details. The designer has done a great job. Up here we got the blue Ford, which Ron is driving with Harry as his passenger. And if you want to make this set a bit less magical, then you can simply remove the car. You can see that it's only attached with a transparent bar to this clip here. And you can remove it within seconds, and then it's a non-Harry Potter set. Well, you can see that there are less details on the build's backside. It doesn't look ugly, but it's definitely less detailed than the front. So this is clearly the side which is meant to be displayed. Building the set was quite fun. It was an easy build. There weren't too many crazy building techniques. What was not so much fun maybe was building the railway ballast, because we used a lot of 1x1 plates for that, and that's never fun to place a lot of those tiny things. And also the locomotive itself was a bit was a bit exhausting to build with all those tiny pieces. And at the beginning it was a bit fragile, but once you have placed it at its position, it's completely sturdy. In general, the build is really, really sturdy. And if you remember, during the building process, I showed you that the base was bent slightly, but that's not a problem any longer. The viaduct presses the base just on the table, and everything is absolutely flat. The bricks which we used for this build are alright. Those are not perfect bricks, but there's no problem with the clutch power. All the pieces work totally fine. There are some problems with the consistency of the colors, especially the green pieces, which are supposed to be in the same color, come with different shades of green. But I think it isn't really visible. What's a bit more visible is the problems with the dark bluish gray pieces. have a look here at this jumper plate, you can see that that one is darker than the other ones. But all in all, the consistency of the colors is alright. Not perfect, but you can work with it. It's nothing which will catch your eye immediately. What I also do not like about the pieces is that most of them come with quite ugly injection holes, but luckily the completed build doesn't show a lot of those ugly injection holes. Most of them are covered. So let me have a look. Yeah, here in the back, let's turn the build around. Here we can see those huge ugly injection holes. And yeah, I'm also not too fond of these injection holes here. And are there any more injection holes? Yeah, I think over here. That one here and that one there. But those are all injection holes or ugly injection holes visible. All the other injection marks visible are only injection points, and that's absolutely fine. The instructions are easy to follow. They come with tiny errors, but those are absolutely neglectable. I had very much fun with assembling this colorful build, and it's definitely a great display set which I can recommend.